You're watching Man Coverage with Nate Schmidt and James Bonneville on National Streaming Sports.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is October 12th, 2025. It is college football week 7. I am Knoxville Nate. This is James Bonneville and Man Coverage. Wow.
Do we say this every week? I mean, honest to God, we say this every freaking week.
That was an interesting Saturday, to say the least. There was some games that went exactly as I thought they would. There was some surprises, and there is certainly a lot to talk about. But I want to start right where we should start, and that is up in Autzen Stadium, however you pronounce it, in Oregon, where the Ducks were taking on the Indiana Hoosiers. And why don't we just call it as it is? It was more the Indiana Hoosiers taking on the Ducks. This game was 30-20. I don't think that score reveals anything about the game because it wasn't that close. 10 points sounds like, oh, you get a touchdown, you're 3 points away from tying the game. Well, the Oregon offense could do basically nothing all game long. The Indiana Hoosiers had 6 sacks and were in the backfield way more than that. Dante Moore, who people were touting as the Heisman Trophy candidate possibility, was 21 of 34 with 2 interceptions and had negative 27 yards rushing. James, kudos has to go out to the coach of the year, Kirk Cignetti. This guy, people laughed at him when he said, all I've ever done is win, Google it, and everybody made a joke out of it. He wasn't even being cocky. He was just telling the truth, and my God, as he backed it up. What did you think about what the Hoosiers did yesterday to the Ducks?
Calling it a 10-point game makes it sound like it was even close. I mean, this is an Autzen, one of the toughest, if not the toughest stadiums to play in, with an Indiana Hoosiers team that hasn't beat a top 5 team in 70 years? Maybe? I mean, I know longer than I've been alive. I mean, the last, 46? And their defense only gave up 67 yards in the second half to a really good offense. Like, really good. Let's be honest, they're good. And I think after this game, I think Indiana stopped being a cute story and has become, I think they're no longer Cinderella. They're a power. I mean, it's with Cignetti. I mean, I think we should have realized after the way they just took it to Illinois, but it's Indiana. We didn't want to believe it. Like it's still, we always kept, because Indiana has always been in the basement. Even when they've had somewhat good teams, 7-5 seemed like an incredible year in Bloomington. Now, I mean, they have a realistic chance for playing for the national title. Am I wrong?
They're absolutely legit. Anyone that tells you that Indiana is not legit either knows nothing about football or hasn't watched them play. Illinois is a good football team.
Yeah.
As evidenced based on how they played against USC, based upon how they played against Ohio State. I know that it was 34-16, and we'll get into that game a little bit later. But this is a good football team coached by a very good football coach in Bielema, whether you like him or not. Most people don't. He is a good football coach, and he's got Illinois playing well. and Indiana absolutely kicked the ever-loving crap out of them, and it could have even been worse than it was. And yesterday was really no different. I mean, they just dominated. They dominated Oregon from the start to the finish. I mean, these people, if you don't know who these guys are, you need to take some notes. I mean, Fernando Mendoza might be the best quarterback in the entire country. Elijah Surratt, the number 13 wide receiver, he had 8 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown yesterday.
How is he not a first-round draft pick in this upcoming draft?
He may be. He very well may be. And I know that scouts were there watching this game yesterday. And what about Aiden Fisher? 13 tackles, 4 solo, a sack and a half. He was all over the place. I mean, this team is absolutely for real. And their defense it's not just one guy on defense. I mean, Hardy is good. Jones, 46, is a good player. I wrote down Pons, number 5, is a heck of a football player. Wyatt, number 13, had a sack and a half. I mean, this defense was just all over the place and made this Oregon Ducks team that, was a team that could run it. They could throw it. They had a mobile quarterback who could do a lot of things. Yesterday, they could do nothing, James. And I think if you're a human being that knows a thing or two about football, I think you have to put Indiana, in your top 2 or 3 best teams in the country, don't you?
I honestly, because I remember texting you yesterday, I'm like, honestly, with Miami not playing yesterday, will the voters put Indiana over Miami? I think they should. I think they should too. I mean, it's funny. We talk about Surratt. We talk about Fisher. We talk about Mendoza or Hemby. That offense and defensive line is for real. I mean, Bob Bostad, is the offensive line coach at Indiana. If you've been around football at all for the past, 20 years, he has developed some incredible offensive lines at Wisconsin, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tennessee Titans, came back to Wisconsin. This guy knows what he's doing. Yeah. He was the offensive line coach during the Christ era at Wisconsin, where everybody in the building knew that Wisconsin was going to run the ball and they couldn't throw it, and they still ran for 300 a game. It is, and he doesn't have near the talent that he did at Wisconsin. You look at this roster, there are no 5 stars. There are 7 4 stars, and they all transferred in. They're developing this from grassroots.
I agree. I just think that Kirk Cignetti is just an absolutely a good coach. And I think that, he proved to us last year that he was for real. He took his team to the playoff in year 1, but people just acted like it was a fluke. And they said that Indiana didn't play anybody and that it was a joke. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that they were for real last year. And I think they're absolutely legit, and they're going to be legit. So
you look at the rest of their schedule. Their toughest game is at Maryland. They got at Penn State, which would have been a tough game a little while back. No longer. I would go at Maryland and then maybe home against UCLA. That schedule isn't that daunting. They're gonna walk in to the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis, an hour away from Bloomington, and you can't tell me Lucas Oil isn't going to be rocking.
Oh, it's going to be rocking for sure, and I'm interested to see what the Hoosiers very well could run the table the rest of this year. They've got a favorable schedule on the way out, but you can't sit here and say they haven't played anybody. They played Illinois. They beat the ever-loving snot out of them. They went to Oregon and knocked off an Oregon team that's been beating top 10 teams left and right. And, I'm kind of getting sick, too, of the narrative, like where people will say now, beating Penn State's not a big deal. Well, Penn State was riding pretty high when Oregon beat them and when they
Yeah.
went into the whiteout and knocked them down. You can't say that was an easy game, or that, obviously we're going to talk about Penn State here in a second, but I don't want to hear that. Indiana's earned their stripes. Indiana is absolutely legit, and this guy should win Coach of the Year again. I don't care if they lose every game from the way out. Maybe not that, but he's definitely legit.
It's crazy what he's done to Indiana. And, I mean, they're going to have people like, well, now it's starting to doubt Oregon. I'm sorry, Oregon's a good team. And
Oregon's very good.
Oregon's going to be in the playoff, and if you don't think they're going to be in the quarterfinals, you're lying to yourself.
I see Oregon in the playoffs for sure, and having a chance to play for the title.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're gonna. I right now they're in my semis.
Yeah, I would put them there, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today, as far as who we think is going to make the college football playoff, who we think is going to have a chance to get in there. And I want to touch on this game here for a minute, and that is the Red River rivalry. Say that 3 times real fast. The Texas Longhorns, who everybody also said sucked. Everybody said that they were overrated, that they shouldn't have been ranked number 1 to start the season, that Arch sucks and all that. I don't believe that. I went back and I watched that Florida game again. I went back and I watched the Ohio State game again. I think Texas is just a team that has a young quarterback who is in his first year of being the starter, and he looks like it. He looks like it's his first year, but he's shown flashes of being good. Yesterday, he certainly didn't win the game for him. I'm going to give it to the Texas defense for what they did, getting 3 interceptions. But my main thing about yesterday was Oklahoma should not have played John Mateer. I mean, he didn't look right from the word go. It looked like he was hurt. He just didn't look like he was ready to go. That didn't look like the same guy that we saw dominating college football for the first 4 weeks of the season. I think they should have gone with what's the guy's name?
It's is it Franklin? Isn't it Franklin? It's
no, it's blanking on his name, but their backup quarterback who has won games for them in the past and who is a good player. They should have rode with him for sure. His name is Hawkins.
That's it.
Yeah, Hawkins, Michael Hawkins Jr.
Michael Hawkins.
They should have rode with Michael Hawkins. They should have had a game plan for what he does well. And I think then they would have been more competitive and could have won this game, don't you think?
Well, Hawkins started games last year. It's not like he's, coming out of the blue. I mean, he's played some games this year too as well. It's not like he's some spring chicken. They did himself no favors. And, honestly, I look at Oklahoma much like the same way I look at LSU. They're a team with a really good defense. No doubt about it. But an offensive line that is really not good. Like, in some cases, very bad.
They're mediocre.
If their quarterback isn't healthy, they're dead. Like, that it is going to be tough to win games. And it's not like there's this string of quarterbacks behind him. I mean, Hawkins is solid, but he ain't a world beater. I mean,
but he would have given them a better chance to win this game.
Way better chance. Way better chance. Way better chance. Yeah. I mean, honestly, you look at Arch. That offensive line at Texas is just not good. I mean, in the first half, they ran the ball 9 times, 6 of them for losses.
Yeah.
I mean, this Texas team, they've four of the 5 guys on that offensive line are new starters. They're not gelling together. And when you have 21 for 27 for $166, you're dumping quick passes. That's it. You're just trying to get the ball out of your hands. And I don't care who you are. That's tough. I mean, is he as good as everybody thought he was going to be? No. But he's not freaking awful. Like, he needs to be benched awful, which there are some freaking Texas fans out there who believe he should be. But their defense, legit.
Yes. And let me tell you, this guy, he's going to be good. I see I see it. I think he's going to be good. I do think he needs to come back and play another year. He's not going to get drafted high. I mean, he could possibly just based on his name, but I think he's going to come back. He's going to play for Texas next year, and I think he's going to do a damn good job. And if you watch the tape closely, there's plays where you're like, whoa, that's a great play. And then there's other plays where you're like, ooh, not a greatest decision. Sometimes I find him holding on to the ball too long. I find him trying to make a play when he should just take what's there. That's what I think he's lacking at. He doesn't just take what the defense gives him. Sometimes he thinks, oh, I can make this play. Oh, I can do this, when he should just throw it to the guy who's open. You know what I'm saying?
It's immaturity. I mean, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, hell, Brett Favre, even in his 30s, was immature. I mean, he would just try to gun it in there, but he was a guy who could, like, last play, throw it out of his head. A lot of these guys can't do that. But he's a good quarterback. Is he Peyton or Eli? No, he's a completely different style of quarterback.
Yeah, and yesterday they actually ran the football and had a game plan where they were going to stick to running the football. They handed it to Wisner for 22 times. He got 94 yards and averaged over 4.3 yards per carry. That's what they need to do is run the football and help this young quarterback out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, first half wasn't working out well at all, but the second half, I completely agree. The offensive line, they start going more downhill between the guards, and it worked.
No doubt, and that's what they need to do. You want this quarterback to be good. You want Arch to take you places. You need to put the game plan in to help him, and you need to run the football and stick with the game plan of running the football. You can't just abandon the run every time you get down. You can't abandon the run every time it doesn't work right away. Sometimes it works later. But we do need to talk about people who are about to jump ship. And that would be the Penn State Nittany Lions. Holy crap, James. I know things looked bad against UCLA. They almost came back and won it at the end. They played way better in the second half. Their offense was fine. The defense, for some reason, disappeared in that UCLA game. Yesterday, they took on Northwestern. I believe they were at home.
They were
at home against Northwestern, and they lose by 1 point. They also, as the picture here is showing us, lose their quarterback for the entire season. The fans were booing the team, booing the head coach, chanting to fire Franklin. It's bad. I mean, I thought it was bad last week. Last week is no comparison to this week. Really, Penn State had no business losing to Northwestern. How did it happen? How did they lose again, James, at home to Northwestern yesterday?
Honestly, ever since the Oregon game, this team has imploded, especially defensively. And that was really the strength of this team. I mean, you look at their defense and their offensive line, they're running. I mean, their only question mark was Drew Allen. And this team is a shell of what they once were. I mean, you look at their schedule on the way out. I mean, at Iowa at night, I don't think Penn State's winning that. Then at Ohio State and home against Indiana. I mean, you have to go to win the final 3 games to go to a bowl game. This was a team we talked about that could be playing, if not winning, the national championship.
No, don't say we, because I never said that. I thought they were good. I thought they were a playoff team. I did not think this quarterback was good enough to have them in the national championship game or winning it. I just don't like him. I don't have a problem with him personally, but as I've said multiple times on the show, he is not a guy that is going to win you a game against a top 3 team. I just don't think he's that guy. He's never been that guy. He's never shown me that. I've never seen that. So I'm not going to go and say that. However, I cannot deny that I did think with what they had coming back, their running backs, the receivers that they brought in, the defense, the coaching staff. Hell, they're paying $3.1 million to Jim Knowles right now.
Yeah.
Is he earning his money?
This defense looks much worse than it did last year.
They look
But
horrible.
Honestly, it's got to be their locker room. It's got to be. They've got to have a locker room problem because the talent on paper is there. I mean, to lose the way losing to UCLA after what we saw yesterday against Michigan State, UCLA's playing much better football. They're playing inspired. To lose to Northwestern at home. I mean, what in the world is going on? I mean,
they're turning the ball over. They're throwing interceptions. They're fumbling it. They're not playing sound football on defense. They're not setting the edge. They're just not doing the things that I know they've been taught to do. And I don't know if like you said, James has completely lost the locker room. But, sometimes losing a game can inspire a team. We're not going to talk about, recent history where that's happened because I don't want to right now. But, there is times where teams have lost a game and then, have rallied, following that. Right now, I feel like that Oregon loss just like crushed all the hopes and dreams of this team. And it looks like they've kind of folded and thrown their cards in. And now, as much as I don't believe in Drew Aller, I do think he's the best quarterback on their team because their backup plays quarterback for Missouri now. What happens now, James? What do they do now with a fan base and, an administration that are questioning James Franklin, a team that has no idea what the hell they're doing, obviously? What does Penn State do now? Is there any way they can, finish out the season better than it's gone the last 3 weeks? I mean, I don't know where they go from here. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I would go much more conservative. I mean, they're going to have to turn to Ethan Grunkenmeyer. And yes, that name just runs off. Everybody remembers the recruitment of Ethan Grunkenmeyer. And if you do,
you think you'd remember that because that is a memorable name. However, I honestly don't know that guy.
I mean, honestly, I would be running the game. I'd be playing a 1980s Joe Paterno offense and just hand the ball off and work the line and try to work the clock. They can't. I mean, he does. You're handing over to a freshman, and I don't know whether the game could get out of hand quick. And what's that going to do to the locker room? I mean, these next 3 games, they're not going to. I mean, they're not going to win. They're not going to win. Period.
No,
and
we're going to talk. We're going to talk. Yeah, I do too, a little bit, and I'm not a fan, but I do kind of feel bad because these kids, went there, stayed there, came there for aspirations of playing in meaningful games, and there's no meaningful games left really on the schedule. I mean, they can ruin somebody's season potentially, but as far as their own season goes, they're struggling to get to a bowl game, and that is not good. And we're going to talk about the future of James Franklin and some coaches that might be in trouble now. We're going to talk about that in our second segment. But before we get there, I do want to mention a little bit about, I admit when I'm right and I admit when I'm wrong. And, I didn't really see it as far as Ty Simpson goes. I didn't like what I saw in the first game. I didn't really know a whole lot about him from last year. Just wasn't overly impressed with him. But I'm starting to warm up. I mean, yesterday was a really good game. I mean, this guy was clean. That's just how I think. That's how I look at his performance yesterday against a good Missouri team. 23-31, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's got a lot more ability to run than I thought he did. Now he's not gonna, run the option and beat, look like Tony Rice out there. But, he's got more movement skills than I anticipated. This Bama team is a lot better than they were in week 1. I think we need to give Kalen DeBoer some credit for how this team has improved. James, what did you think about Ty Simpson yesterday? And what do you think about where Bama is at the present time?
There's an analogy that Mike Tyson's given at that everybody's got a strategy everybody's got a strategy in a fight until they get punched in the face. Obviously, Penn State got punched in the face and laid on the mat. Ty Simpson got punched in the face and rallied this team. And Ty Simpson, he is getting the ball up much quicker than he did in the Florida State game. And, I mean, let's be honest. This is not Nick Saban's Alabama teams. The offensive line on paper is very good, but their running game is pretty pedestrian. I mean, you look at Justice Haynes is running the ball at Michigan pretty well. He was the running back at Alabama last year. He didn't run really that well. And Ryan Williams, where is he? You know, this guy is supposed to be the clear number one. I got to give it to Jeremy Bernard. Really, Ty Simpson is the reason why this team is hanging on, and really right now the best team in the SEC. Would you disagree with me on that? I mean,
no,
he finds ways to win games.
Yes, and this is playing a pretty tough gauntlet the last few weeks. I mean, they played Georgia, they played Missouri. Those two teams are both good football teams. And
hell, look at the way they played Vandy.
Yeah,
I mean that was a bar fight game where they took punch after punch and just kept coming back.
Yeah, Georgia, Vandy, and Missouri. Not to mention, obviously Florida State is not great, but playing them the opening week, they were decent at that point. Obviously ready for that game. So this has been a pretty hefty schedule on the Crimson Tide, and to be where they are, I think, is a testament to this coaching staff, to Coach DeBoer, and to this quarterback. I think he's a true leader, and I think he's taken that upon his shoulders. And my question to you is, where does Missouri go from here? This is a tough loss. I mean, they lost by 3 points at home to a good Alabama team. What do they do now? Obviously next week they've got Auburn, then they play Vanderbilt, then they play A&M. I mean, then they've got Oklahoma, the second to last game, and then Mississippi State and Arkansas mixed in there. So this is not like an easy schedule on the way out. What do you see them doing for the rest of the season?
I think they're still going to be very successful. I mean, they're going to get back to who they are and what their identity is. And they're going to pound the rock. I mean, between one of your favorite players in Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, Bo Prabilla. I mean, hell, they averaged 6 on the ground yesterday. 6 yards on the ground against Alabama is impressive. The one thing Alabama did really well is they were packing things underneath and basically begging for Missouri to throw it deep. And Prabilla just doesn't have that kind of arm, and they don't have that kind of receiver on their team. But you look at the way Missouri's playing, absolutely. I think they could be a top 3 or 4 team in the SEC, and we may be seeing them play a little longer in the playoffs too as well.
I agree. I'm not ready to write them off yet.
No.
I think they played a really good game yesterday. Obviously, it didn't end the way they wanted. But I'm not going to give up on the Missouri Tigers just yet. They've got a tough schedule left to go. They've got some good games that they need to play, but I'm not ready to give up. And we're going to break down a few more games. I'm going to talk some coaching, who might be in trouble, who is in trouble, and then we're going to talk who we think is headed to the playoff. Before we do that, I want everybody to take my advice on this one. Last week, we were up in Columbus going to the Ohio State Minnesota game. We went right on SeatGeek.com. We typed in promo code NSS. We got $20 off, got in the stadium for less than $200 right in A-Deck, Section 8A, about 20 rows up. Go to SeatGeek right now. Type in promo code NSS. Get your tickets for next week.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Okay, so now we need to discuss down on the plains yesterday. The Georgia Bulldogs come to town to take on the Auburn Tigers. You got to give Coach Freeze a little credit here. I think he had a great game plan. They were up 10-0. They're on the 1 yard line. I think it's 3rd and 1.
Yep.
And they tried the brotherly shove, whatever the hell you want to call it. Jackson Arnold sticks the ball out. Number 5 on Georgia punches it out. They rule it a fumble on the field. They review it. They uphold the call. First off, James, what did you think about the call? Do you think they got it right? And then 2, what did you think about the play call there? And my God, do you agree with me that momentum completely swung after that?
It was a different game.
It just went the other way.
It should have been a touchdown, and it was a completely different game. Everything freaking changed. I mean, hell, at one point late in the second quarter, Georgia had 20 yards total offense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Hugh Freeze is going to have a very interesting offseason in that this defense they have is very good. I mean, hell, you go back to the Oklahoma game. They played well. I mean, heck,
yes.
They played really well in this game. They played really well.
They should have won that Oklahoma game too, by the way. There was some horrible calls. That play where the Oklahoma receiver was pretending to walk off the field and then took it back. And then the other play where the guy fumbled it and they took it back and they didn't call it a fumble. They got screwed in that Oklahoma game. I feel like they got screwed yesterday as well.
I mean, their offensive line has had some issues, but the real big problem there, and it's been the same problem they had last year too as well, is the quarterback position. And if this is not a bad team, and quite frankly, if they had a quarterback, heck, a Mateer, we may be talking about them in the playoff and possibly winning the SEC. This is a pretty good roster. I mean, they've got a good receiving core. Coleman is legit. But I mean, that one moment killed the entire game.
It really
Georgia
did.
And this Georgia team is not that good. Like we've talked about it week after week after week. They don't have that great edge guy that they always have. They're not as strong in defense. I mean, KJ Bolden is the strength of their defense. Offensively, who scares you? Nobody.
Yeah, they just kind of they rotate the running backs between Bowens, McCray, and Frazier, so they don't really have a guy that they give it to 20 times. I'm not in love with any of their wide receivers. I mean, I think Zachariah Branch is by far their best, as we said before the season. But if that play doesn't happen, if that 3rd and 1 isn't ruled a fumble, I'm almost 100% sure that Auburn wins that game.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you. Jackson Arnold is not good. He was way overrated coming out of high school. He's just not the player that everybody thought he was going to be when Oklahoma took him and basically got rid of all the rest of their guys because they were ready to hand the keys to the car over to this dude and then quickly got rid of him. And I always see why they did get rid of him. He was playing well. I mean, he was doing a good job running the offense. He was running the football. He's not the greatest thrower of the football, but he was moving the ball, getting Auburn down in scoring position. And it was like, as soon as that was ruled a fumble, he just some switch got turned off in his mind. And he just didn't even look like the same person for the rest of that game. And, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Auburn, even though I hate them because they did deserve to win this game for most of it until the end. But, we questioned Georgia. We questioned the talent of this team and how good they are, but they keep coming up with, finding ways to win. And that's what you're supposed to do. That is what football is all about. I can see this team maybe getting better and building on what they've done. I think Georgia may surprise us here with what they're able to do because now they believe they can win, and they certainly have a coach who knows how to win. And my God, did he cheat last night when he tried to call a timeout, and then he told the referee, did you see that? Where he told the referee, I was just clapping. And I was like, who claps like this? Nobody. How much noise does that make? None.
Yeah.
This makes noise. This does not. He's a freaking liar and kind of a D-bag, but he wins football games, man. I think that's kind of what his job is, right?
Absolutely.
So we'll give him that. I want to go out to the Los Angeles Coliseum because yesterday the team from up north of Ohio was out there playing some ball against the Trojans. I'm still not 100% sure what to think about the Trojans. I know they won this game. They played pretty well. I liked Lincoln Riley's game plan, but there were times, James, where I'm watching this game and USC would snap the ball and at least 3 of the USC linemen would. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't get carted off with whiplash because of how badly they got knocked backwards by the Michigan defensive line. I mean, go watch it if you don't believe me, and you look and see these guys would the ball snap and poof, they just. I mean, they're some of them. These guys are huge, but they were getting knocked 3 or 4 yards deep. Now Lincoln used that to his advantage and ran a lot of bubble screens and ran some misdirection. And I mean, he realized it too. Obviously, he's not an idiot. He knows more about football than I do, so he used that to his advantage. But they were just blowing away the USC offensive line, and the fact that the Trojans were able to win this game, I think it's more of an indictment on the young quarterback at Michigan. They were coming back. They were, I believe, within a touchdown and were driving, and he threw an ill-timed interception. I just think I think it would have behooved him to maybe not start from day one as a true freshman who had never played in college football before. But he's out there, and this is what's going to happen sometimes with freshman quarterbacks. What did you think about this game, and do you agree at all with my assessment?
I've been saying since day one of the Lincoln Riley experiment, and I like Lincoln Riley, but outside of Creed Humphrey, can you name me another lineman, offense or defense, that was that devastating during the Lincoln Riley era at Oklahoma and now at USC? I can't.
No.
I mean, it is specialty players, man. He can find them anywhere. Like this guy, it's like he's got him in his sock drawer and he can pull them out. I mean, freaking Lemon this year. I mean, you just keep going on and on. But their line of scrimmage play is a far cry from what we saw during the Pete Carroll era. Like a far cry, where that was the strength of their team, was the line of scrimmage. And now, I mean, talent-wise, specialty players, they can make the playoff. But I don't trust that line of scrimmage. Now, Michigan, it's obvious that, I mean, you lost Graham, Grant, and Johnson on that defense. And who on the offense really scares you? Nobody. I mean,
Justice Haynes.
Well, yeah, but
and he got banged up yesterday. And once he went out,
done. Marshall,
the team looked different.
I mean, Marshall's good, but he can't carry a freaking team. I mean, I like Justice Haynes, but who in their passing game? I mean, you gotta supplement that somehow with some play action or something.
Yeah, Andrew Marsh played well yesterday. I believe he's a freshman as well. And he had 8 catches for 138 yards and a touchdown. And one of them was a busted coverage where these guys, I mean, it was a simple comeback and the guy dove at him and missed. And then there was nobody behind him. And he went for, I believe, 69 yards and a touchdown. So you take that away and his numbers were not as good. But I do want to give credit to Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
He had a good game plan in this one. He understood what they have and what they don't have. And, wow, this freshman, we keep saying freshmen. You're good. You're going to get on the field these days. And this freshman running back, King Miller, goes out there yesterday, 18 carries, 158 yards and a touchdown. That was more than double what he's produced all season otherwise. 6 foot, 210 pounds. His twin brother also plays for USC. And man, did he come out and didn't even have the greatest blocking, as we just talked about,
Yeah.
and still went out and got some yards yesterday. He may be the next, big time running back at USC. I was very impressed with him.
You know what's funny is Brian Jackson was ruled out for the game before the game, and they snuck him in and got him 5 carries. I mean,
including a touchdown.
Yeah, including a touchdown. He was
which was the game sealer. That was big time. So I don't know how that works, but they certainly did get it done for sure. And I want to sneak this game in. Everybody was making fun of the Bruins. Everybody was making fun and laughing at Nico Yamaleva and his decision to leave Tennessee. And then they fired Deshaun Foster. And ever since Deshaun Foster was escorted out of the building, this Bruin football team has looked completely different. We talked about Jerry Neuheisel taking over the play calling duties and becoming the offensive coordinator. He should be, in my opinion, hired right now as the head coach for UCLA. If they let this guy walk out the door without giving him the head coaching job, then I will never, ever feel sorry for this team ever again. What a performance yesterday in Michigan State in East Lansing. The week after they took that, I thought there might be a little bit of a letdown the week after they took out Penn State in the fashion that they did, the way they were able to hold on to that game at the end. And I just thought there might not be, quite the same fire in this UCLA team traveling across the country to take on Michigan State. But I was completely wrong. This team looked as good, if not better. The quarterback, Nico, played a great game. The defense played well. What did you think about UCLA putting it together again for another huge victory and announcing themselves as an actual team in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing doing it at home. They went into East Lansing and did this against, a Joe Rossi defense. When he was at Minnesota, he was probably one of the 10, 15 best defensive coordinators in the country. And they dropped 38 on him. I mean, outside of on offense, though, outside of your first drive, Michigan State scored, went up 7-0. After that, field goal, touchdown, missed field goal, touchdown, punt. Their first punt was in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go. They kicked the ever-living snot out of Michigan State, nearly 2-1 in time of possession. I mean, it wasn't even close. And it's not like Nico was out there gunning the ball all over the place. I mean, Jalen Berger, the running back, who used to start off at Wisconsin, then went to Michigan State, now at UCLA. I mean, he looked impressive. Deshaun Foster left, and this was like the spark this team needed. Now the question is, can they keep this going and make a run to a bowl game? I mean, when you lose your first 4 games, of which the New Mexico game was just an ugly loss, can you go 4-2 on the way out with a schedule that's gonna be tough? I mean, you got to go at Indiana and at Ohio State. That means you got to beat Maryland at home, Nebraska at home, Washington at home, and at USC.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I don't know if they're going. I do not see them going bowling.
No.
But I can just say that where this team was and where this team is right now, needs to be noticed. And it's a completely different football team. This offense looks like it looks like there's different people out there, and there's not. It's the same people. It's just a different guy calling the plays. It's just a different scheme. It's a different mentality, in my opinion. The mentality is what is different about this UCLA football team. Jerry Neuheisel is pulling the trigger back there, and it doesn't look the same as what it did before. I mean, you lose to New Mexico at home 35-10, and now you're beating Michigan State on the road 38-13 after the week after you take down Penn State. So, kudos to those guys, and kudos to these young men at UCLA who didn't quit. They could have easily given up. I mean, hell, we've seen the Penn State guys give up and, mail it in for the rest of the season. And these guys were 0-4 and have won 2 big ball games in a row. And, I think maybe gotten their offensive coordinator the job. What about, there's a couple other games that we can hit on real quickly. And, one is Florida State, kind of showing us who they were. The A&M taking out Florida 34-17. Florida looks like a different team on the road than they do at home.
Yeah.
But just, the quarterback did not play well yesterday. And I think you need to give Mike Elko credit for the way he's got his team ready to play each week and had them, good to go based on whoever they're playing. But I'm still not sold on A&M as like a top 5 team.
No.
Where are you at with them? And what do you think their ceiling is?
Well, I mean, you look at their schedule. I mean, honestly, I think they could go 10-2, if not better, because it's really an advantageous schedule for Texas A&M. But this is A&M we're talking about. I mean, I've seen this team stumble over anything. I think if they get into the playoffs, especially if they have to go to a northern location, that's going to be funny.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is it does look like a different regime in charge. And I do think we need to give Mike Elko some credit for what he's been able to do since taking over for Jimbo. I mean, he's got this whole team with a different mentality, and they do look better. But, I don't know if I believe in that quarterback just yet. I really
too
don't.
Schizophrenic. Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't think if you need a touchdown, you're down by 7, you have to have it. Is he the guy that's going to get it done and get you down the field? If they take away, if they spy him and take away his legs, can he throw the football from the pocket and win you the game? I don't think so.
Yeah,
that's my only thing. Let's talk real quick about some of the coaches that you think might be in trouble. You mentioned that Oregon State has fired their coach, correct?
Trent Bray, yes.
Trent Bray is gone. A lot of teams have not waited around for the end of the season to get rid of their coach. They're moving. I don't know why, or the reason behind getting rid of guys so quickly. What do you think it is, James? Why do you think these teams are pulling the trigger so quickly and moving on from their head coach in the middle of the season, like we've seen?
I think with the transfer portal, I think everything has changed. That they need to get that coach before the end of the year or right after the season ends, so they have more time for that recruiting class and for the transfers to come in. Because I think in the old school way, you wait till after the season, then fire them. By then, it could be too late. I mean, you've got to move fast if you're firing after the season. That's why I think you've seen a completely different change. And I honestly think you're going to see some coaches where the school and the coach look at each other, and I'm looking at you, James Franklin, when I say this, where they say, hey, how about this? If you want to go somewhere else, that's cool. We'll take off the buyout.
Yeah.
And they kind of part ways that way. I just certain jobs, I think you're going to see people move on.
I think that would be the best situation because they're not going to fire James Franklin now.
No, you can't. $58
million buyout. I just don't see them doing that. Now, I didn't think Texas A&M would do it. Obviously, they have the money to do it, but I still didn't think they would do it just because of optics. But they went ahead and pulled it, and looks like to be the right move at this point. I kind of questioned it at the time, especially when last year they had the same record. But it looks like they're going in the right direction now, and Mike Elko could be the guy. But, who does Penn State get, if they fire James Franklin? Who's going to come in and take that job and, think that they can win a national championship there? I mean, I don't know who that guy is. Do you?
No, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you and I both know that Penn State fan is instantly their first thought is Kurt Cignetti. Why wouldn't he come here? And I'm like – We live in we live in a completely different world prior to the transfer portal and NIL. Yeah. I think you're going to see current coaches in Power 5 jobs not want to leave where they're at.
No,
because it's just there's just too many different factors than there were 3-4 years ago.
Right. So last week, I feel like there's a Billy Napier roller coaster ride down in Walt Disney World, because one week we're like, whoa, maybe he's going to stay. And the next week we're like, no, they look terrible, he's going to leave. And they're like, whoa, maybe he's going to stay. I don't know, man. He's got such a tough schedule on the way out. I have a hard time believing he's going to survive the season in Florida. I think he's probably going to be gone. I think that Fickle, I know that the buyout is big up in Wisconsin, but I just don't see how can you look at your fans in the face and tell them that you're committed to winning and leave this guy as your head coach, because they're not even close, James. And it's an embarrassment to Wisconsin football, in my opinion. I think he is potentially going to get fired as well. Maybe they work out a reduced buyout with him. I don't know. Who else do you think is on the hot seat, and who else do you think may be next as far as getting fired maybe in the middle of the season?
I mean, it feels like Mike Norvell is trying not to get fired rather than trying to win games.
Yeah.
Like they're not building anything in Tallahassee. All they're doing is transfer portal and running it like it's a group of 5 team and trying not to get fired. Granted, once again, that buyout is huge. I hate to say it, Mark Stoops at Kentucky. I mean, granted, how invested is their fan base in football? And
I don't know.
What about Bill Belichick at North Carolina? This isn't exactly gone how they thought it was going to be. Or Hugh Freeze at Auburn. I mean, Auburn has always been freaking crazy.
Yeah, I can see things, especially after the way that yesterday went. I can see Hugh Freeze potentially being gone. But, I mean, are they just going to fire their coach every 2 years? I mean, I don't get that. I don't think he's necessarily the problem, as you mentioned earlier, and I agree with you. They need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They retired Cam Newton's jersey at halftime, and by God, that was the last time they really had, a true baller at quarterback. I mean, this guy is just, they've been kind of bringing guys in and trying to put a Band-Aid on the quarterback position, and that's not going to work. I mean, they brought in the kid from Michigan State last year. That was a disaster. I don't think Jackson Arnold is him, so to speak. I just don't see it from him. So I don't know. I think he could be in trouble as well. Is there anybody else that you see that could potentially be an issue? And I'm looking at some guys that are out there that I think are going to be head coaches next year. And one of them is Pat Fitzgerald. His lawsuit is settled. He's got that little chunk of cash in his pocket. His name's kind of been cleared. I could see him being out there, getting hired and taking over a program next year. I just don't know which one it is.
I think he's trying to weigh his options and seeing what's actually going to be available. Because you and I both know we rattled off a bunch of people. Half are probably not going to get fired. But once again, the seat's going to be extremely warm going into next year. If I'm Pat right now with the jobs that are open, God, that Virginia Tech job looks really appealing to me if they're willing to put the money into it.
I mentioned that as well. I think that is probably, the best job for him, a school that has history, a school that's got that tough as nails, kind of lunch pail mentality. I could see him going in there and doing a good job there and possibly being the guy that brings Virginia Tech back. I'm telling you, if Wisconsin were to pull the trigger and fire Luke Fickell, I could see him going to Wisconsin and taking over that place and staying there for a long time. Don't know if that's going to happen just because of the buyout number, but if it does happen, I could see him going there because of his, Big Ten acumen and all of that. I definitely think Trent Dilfer is going to get fired at UAB.
Oh, God, yeah.
That has been an absolute disaster ever since he got there. there's a lot of guys that are on their way out, and
I mean, you look at Jeff Choate at Nevada, but I mean, they have no money. Like
no.
To win at Nevada, you should be sainted. I mean, heck, Joe Moorhead at Akron. I love Joe Moorhead as a quarterback. I mean, as a coach, but Akron has got no money.
No, Butch Jones is probably on his way out at Arkansas State. I think Sonny Cumbie at Louisiana Tech, Derek Mason at MTSU, Scotty Walden at UTEP, and then Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati is definitely getting a little bit warm in the britches himself. Because things haven't gone well there either.
But look at his record this year. I would have said that going into the year. But he's 5-1 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think they go 7-5. He may have bought himself 2 years.
Yeah, he might have. We'll see what happens. But definitely Napier and Norvell are two guys that are, pushing there. After the 2-10 season last year, I think people are looking at Norvell with some, side eye, going, what's going on here, buddy? And then, I could see the wheels falling off. I mean, this is Virginia, last second kind of win, kind of like, whoa, what just happened? And then they kind of got their asses kicked yesterday against a not good Pittsburgh team. The score wasn't that bad, but they were their defense couldn't stop Pitt all day long, who had a freshman quarterback out there and who's really shown us nothing all year long. So I've got a lot of worry about Florida State continuing on with this season, because who are they going to beat, James? They can't beat Virginia on the road. Yeah. They can't beat Pitt at home. Who are they going to beat?
And you look at the rest of their schedule. You got Tech, you got the Canes, and you have Clemson. Is it Clemson? Hold on, let me look it up here quick. I mean, they've got a very difficult schedule where we may be talking 6-6 again. And how are people going to, at Clemson, how are people going to deal with that? I mean, heck, you still got to go to Stanford.
Yeah, Stanford's not good, but going to Stanford and playing at 10:30 at night Eastern time after you've just lost 2 games in a row, that could be no bueno. So we'll see what happens, but there's definitely some guys that are working their way to the door, if you know what I mean, as far as coaching goes. Let's go real quick, James. Give me your top 5 as far as where it stands right now. Who do you think are the top 5 teams in the country? And you can do them in order if you want to.
I'd go Ohio State, 1. 2, I'd go Indiana. 3, I'd go Miami. 4, I'd go Oregon. And 5, I'm going to go out of bounds, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Well, their quarterback got hurt again yesterday, correct?
Yeah, but, I mean, that line of scrimmage play, and especially on the defensive side, man, they're legit. They are a legit team.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'd probably take Bama over them right now just because of the quality of their wins.
I was going back and forth on that one, but yeah.
But I like your 5. My only change, as I said, was, Bama, and that's just because I'm not a huge believer in the whatever they call it now, the Big 12 or whatever that conference is over there. I think they've got some good football teams. I don't know if they have any great football teams, meaning I don't know if any of those people are top 5 material. I will probably take Bama until I see otherwise. I'm going to put them at 5 on mine, but the rest of them, I'm right there with you. And I think, Kurt Cignetti for president, this guy is doing things that I never thought possible. And shout out to my boy Christopher J. Cobb. He already bought his Big Ten championship tickets. He's a Hoosier season ticket holder, long time Hoosier football fan. Even when there weren't many, Chris J. Cobb was one, and he's already bought his Big Ten championship ticket. So he believes it.
Isn't it crazy? We're actually saying those words together, Indiana and Big Ten championship. I mean, if we do say those words together, usually the word basketball is attached to it, not
correct.
Football.
Hey, they had a chance last year. You know, they played Ohio State pretty tough, and if they could have won that game, they would have probably found their way into the Big Ten championship last year. So making it this year isn't that much of a stretch. But week 7, man, I cannot believe we're already next week is week number 8 for college football. I cannot believe we are already at that point. We're well over the halfway mark. And, you know, we've obviously got some big time games coming up next week, and things that are going to tell us even more about what we're thinking about. LSU Vandy is a game that I'm very interested in seeing. Ole Miss Georgia is another game that I'm very interested in seeing. Texas Tech Arizona State, Tennessee Alabama. I think we got some good ones to keep our eye on for next week, James.
Have they announced where game day is going to be at next week yet at all, or not?
I do not know. But I would think, just looking at this slate, I could see them potentially being in Nashville, or I could see them being in Athens for that Ole Miss Georgia game. That would probably be where I would expect to see them.
I would love to see them at Vandy, and you know, get the nerds out. To I mean, it's awesome seeing this. Teams that have been doorsteps forever are now. I mean, who would have ever thought that Vandy would be that good? I mean, Grant, I believed in Clark Lee. I didn't believe he'd do this.
No, I didn't either. I did not either. And he's done a very good job. And congrats to the Northwestern Wildcats. That was a big win for them yesterday, going and taking care of business in Happy Valley. The whiteout is not what it used to be, James. That's for damn sure. So thanks to everybody who go ahead, bud.
No. We're out. That's good. Right.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure to go to SeatGeek.com, type in promo code NSS, get your tickets and get your discount on us, and head to betus.com and put some money on some late night NFL and also week 8 college football. See you next week, folks.
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by betus.com. Designed for true fans. NFL odds, week 1 and futures. College football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds. NBA odds of division winners and playoffs. Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds. The National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds. And boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners. Also, during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.